Hello everyone, welcome to our video on waves basics. Now before we jump in, I do want to kind of give you a warning that from a lot of the units that we've had this year, the vocab I think has been a little light. I think particularly physics, maybe had 12 really big vocab words throughout the whole unit. But waves is quite a bit different. There is a lot of vocabulary throughout this unit, so please make sure that you are doing a good job documenting the vocabulary that we're working on, that you really understand the vocabulary that we're working on, and you're keeping really organized so you can keep everything straight. Okay, here we go. What is a wave? We've probably heard about waves since we can remember, right? You wave to somebody when you're saying hi or bye, and you see waves going through the trees with the wind. You see waves when you're dealing with water. But a wave is a disturbance that transmits energy through matter or space. So actually, our wave unit is actually an energy unit to some degree, or a big degree, actually. Now, a medium. This is important too. A medium is a material a wave can travel through, typically solid, liquid, or gas, and they travel through these with vibrations. Now, not all waves travel through a medium, but a significant portion of them do. And a good chunk of what we are going to talk about does move through a medium. It kind of helps when you're thinking about waves moving through a medium, thinking back to our particle diagrams and how those particles are moving, but instead of just vibrating, how are they specifically vibrating to have a wave go through them? And I'll give you some examples, don't worry. Now we categorize waves into two categories based off of our last slide. A mechanical wave is a type of wave that must travel through a medium, or does travel through a medium, such as water waves and sound waves. That's why you can't actually hear anything in space, because there's not a medium for the sound to travel through. And the other type is electromagnetic waves, which is a type of wave that can travel without a medium. Radio, light, radiation, these are all examples of electromagnetic waves, and actually later on in the unit we're going to talk about the electromagnetic spectrum. Ooh, fancy. Now there are types of waves that can fall into these two broad categories. I know, it's already getting a little dicey. So those are the two categories. Do they travel through a medium or do they not? And then these are the actual styles of waves that can exist. So we have transverse waves, longitudinal waves, and surface waves. And the majority of our time is going to be spent on transverse and longitudinal waves. Transverse waves, I think of these as when you think of waves in science, this is probably what you think of. The particles vibrate up and down. And actually transverse waves can be mechanical or electromagnetic. And actually electromagnetic waves are only transverse waves. You cannot have longitudinal electromagnetic waves. So the particles vibrate up and down. You can see on this little GIF here that we have, oh, didn't see the mouse there, that there are dots. So you can think of those as the particles. And if you just track the one dot relative to the dotted line, it's actually just going up and down. But if you look at the entire wave in general, it's moving from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen. Here's longitudinal waves. So the ones before the transverse vibrated up and down, these ones vibrate back and forth, and these have to be mechanical waves. You cannot have a longitudinal wave travel without a medium. So if you track the red dots, sorry, my colorblind friends, you can see that they're actually kind of vibrating back and forth. So they're staying in a somewhat contained area, but if you kind of zoom out a little bit, you can see the wave is generally speaking again moving from the left to the right of the screen. And this is exactly how sound waves work. Sound waves, you basically push the air out through your mouth and it vibrates through the air. Surface waves. These ones are a little bit complicated, and like I said, we're not going to spend a ton of time on these, but they're a combination of transverse and longitudinal waves. So they're not only vibrating up and down, but they're also vibrating back and forth. And because part of a surface wave is a longitudinal wave, and longitudinal waves can only be mechanical, then surface waves can also only be mechanical. Okay. Again, I know I just threw a lot out there. Try your best to digest each of these words. We are going to be getting even more of them. We're going to have specific videos on transverse and longitudinal, I like to call it wave anatomy. And then the electromagnetic spectrum, sound, light, all that good stuff. So make sure you really understand these. If you got to go back and watch it again, go for it. If you want to contact me, and just because you're confused about anything that's been going on in this video, totally come and talk to me, because it can be a little bit dicey with all the vocabulary that we're dealing with. Okay, I hope you're all doing well. Have a good day.